It's our Manchester United versus Manchester City derby preview and your latest Manchester United news. We're going to be talking about this Pochettino theory, also a bit on James Madison, and a player that's definitely not coming to United who's a midfielder that I think some of us wanted to sign. So that's a little bit disappointing. But look, let's start on a positive. It's the Manchester derby, people. It's a big game. Manchester derby, Manchester United versus Manchester City, Carabao Cup semi-final. Bring it on. Bring it on. I don't want no negativity for 24 hours because I feel we're going to win this game. We beat them at the Etihad a month ago when no one gave us a chance. And I think that the way Ollie plays, actually, Ollie ball, hit teams on the break, works against Manchester City. And I think they'll fall into the same trap again. And I think Pep will get schooled again. I really, really do. We'll talk about my team lineup and how this might go in a moment. But let me start off with some topical stuff. So, first of all, Sky Sports reporting that Manchester United very interested in James Madison, but doubtful they can sign him in January. They didn't need to leak that to Sky for us to know that. I mean, I'm sure they're very interested in signing Messi, but they've got no chance. These are the sort of stories that I think over the years we've become really fed up with because we don't believe you anymore. We don't believe you anymore. Manchester United want to sign James Madison, but we can't get him. Oh, that's all right then. It's all right that you sit on a pile of our gold and don't spend it because you want to get somebody who you can't get. How's about going and getting somebody you can get? You know, realistically, James Madison in January is a no-hoper. So why is that even coming out from Sky Sports? Why is Sky Sports even releasing that? Is that coming from the club again? Is it just Sky Sports putting out nonsense? Why would you even say United are interested in James Madison but don't think they can get him? Mark Goldbridge is interested in buying a massive mansion with an indoor swimming pool and a snooker table and a bar, and he wants to have a big party, invite everybody around every bloody day. I'm interested in it. I'm never going to bloody get it. So it's just an irrelevance. It's an absolute irrelevance, and these sort of stories annoy me. I would rather listen to the one we were talking about this morning with Danny Elmo from Zagreb. You know, we probably won't get it done, but I think, well, we could do it. We just won't. We'll sit on our arse. But James Madison, absolutely no bloody chance. And I get annoyed at these stories. When's the Gareth Bale? You know, why can't we get linked to Gareth Bale? We know it's a load of nonsense, but at least it's logical because he wants to leave Real Madrid and they want to leave him. It won't bloody happen, but at least there's some logic to it. James Madison to Manchester United in January. Shut up. It's absolute irrelevant news. Watch us go and sign him. Now, I'd be happy if we signed him, but it's just not going to happen. It really isn't. The second bit of transfer story I want to give you as well is Emery Chan is not leaving Juventus this month, which I find bloody frustrating because there's nothing you can do about that. This Juventus, it was on our website about an hour ago, theunitedstand.com. Make sure you're checking it out. But the Juventus director has come out and said that Emery Chan will not be leaving in January, which is really bloody annoying. And I know a lot of you don't want him anyway, but I'm sort of going, who are we going to sign in the midfield? Which is going to feed onto the Poch theory in a minute, because Emery Chan to me was available for £30 million. He's hardly played any games for Juventus this season. He's mid-20s, he's Premier League experience, he can play in a number of midfield positions. We need midfielders, we need midfielders, we need midfielders. So this to me, although I'd been told we weren't in for him, but we kept getting linked to him. In fact, I think the bookies had us, he's the most likely signing in January. Well, he's not bloody happening because Juventus have said it's not going to happen. So Emery Chan to Manchester United, not going to happen, I'm afraid. I couldn't give a shit what he says, Abdallah Ratani. I'm not even going to read the name out because he's got no credibility, I'm afraid. So I'm not reading that name out. Sorry. But yeah, so Emery Chan is. I mean, I can't believe you. You've made comments on this channel before. Why would you quote that person as a source? They've got. They even smart ketchup. They've got no source. So with regards to Emery Chan, then not going to happen. That's come from Juventus. So that's another midfielder we can cross off. And I was reading today on Twitter, on Drawty's Twitter, that Jedson Fernandes to Everton. I don't know where that's coming from. I think it might be coming from Duncan Castles. So two midfielders that we may have been looking at. Look, I ain't going to say that they're going to solve world peace or anything like that, but I think they would have definitely boosted our midfield. And Emery Chan's a no and Jedson Fernandes is a no. So what are we looking at in that midfield area? I do not know. But this is where I am going to talk about the Man City game because I am feeling very positive about that. But just before we do that, I just want to say there is a theory floating around. I think I tweeted it a couple of days ago, and I have since then, a few people have contacted me and said they've said it as well before I'd said it. So, you know, obviously a lot of people are starting to think that. I just feel that if we don't sign a midfielder or any player in January, Ollie's days might be numbered. And the reason I say that is because if you're not going to buy in players I can't think of a transfer window where we've needed to sign players as much as we do now. There just hasn't been one. We've got no players in the midfield really, and we're playing a game every 3.5 days, and the Europa League kicks in next month, and we haven't got McTominay till March, and we haven't got Pogba till God knows when. We need midfielders, and we also need a striker. So if we don't sign anybody in January, and Ollie's got to spin out this nonsense of Matic is good enough, Timothy Fosu-Mensah will be fine even though he's had his knee bust for a year, it's a load of nonsense. But if we don't sign anybody, I feel that there is a real echo here, and that is Van Gaal to Mourinho. Mourinho was available. Van Gaal wanted players in the January. They signed nobody. Van Gaal won the FA Cup and was sacked. I feel if Ollie doesn't get any players in January, I think the club are working on Pochettino in the summer. And I do. I genuinely do think that. So I think it's now become more relevant as to whether we're going to sign players. I don't think the club want to get rid of Ollie, and it won't surprise me if we do sign players. But I think if we go through January and we don't, I think there is a real theory going out there that they are working on Pochettino, because they've done it before. They did it with Mourinho, with Van Gaal. So, and I'm sure Woodward will come out and say, "Oh, Ollie's a genius," like he did about Van Gaal. And then he sacked him a few months later. But you cannot not sign players in January. You can, but it would be ridiculous. It would be absolutely ridiculous. It's all right, Abdullah. You don't offend me. Thanks for the contribution. And Maliki Mehdi Baga, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Smash a like on the video, everybody. We're a little bit early tonight, but that's because I've got a bit of a sore throat, and I couldn't do the 8 o'clock show tonight because I'm doing a watch along on That's Football. James Madison signing new contract this week, pal, says Jamie. That will be another thing that will irritate United fans, but I want to get you feeling positive. I want to get you feeling positive tonight. That's my predicted lineup for the Manchester United versus Manchester City game. Really looking forward to it. It's a Manchester derby, it's a big test, and these are the games that get me excited because I want to see Manchester United tested. And some would say we get more of a test against Newcastle away than we do at Man City, but we do raise our game against these, and you get a glimpse of what we could be. And I think that United will win. I think we're going to beat Man City tomorrow. I don't know whether we're going to beat them at the Etihad in the return leg. Maybe we'll get knocked out there, but I think we're going to go into that. I actually think we'll go into it with a 3-1 lead, which, to be honest with you, that should be unattainable, really. But I think we're going to win. I think Manchester City are a very good attacking side, but we've already got the blueprint, pardon the pun, to beat them. We did it at the Etihad. Sit back, soak up the pressure and kill them on the break. Which is why I think he'll play Lingard, because Manchester City don't do what Arsenal did to us, where they just stuck Torreira in that gap, where Lingard was basically spinning into him. Man City play a more progressive style of football. They back themselves to go and score lots of goals, and I don't think they will. And I think United will defend well and hit them on the break. And I think we'll get a couple of early goals in the first half again. They'll start to bottle it. They'll maybe get one back themselves, and we'll get a third, because I think Old Trafford's going to be rocking tomorrow. And that's music to my ears. It's music to everyone's ears. I think there's too much, toxicity in the fan base at the moment. The reality is we're playing Manchester City. We're Manchester United fans, and we need to get behind this team, get behind this manager for this game, because I think there is an opportunity, if we get through, to go and win a trophy. And look, whatever this season is, there are two things that have to be firm with any United fan, and that is that, one, we want to win things, and two, we definitely want to beat Man City. So I can't justify a United fan saying, I hope we lose tomorrow because it will push Ollie more towards the door. I think Ollie's going out the door or in the door, no matter what. It won't be judged on beating Man City tomorrow, and it won't be judged on winning a Carabao Cup, I don't think. So I want to win tomorrow. I think we will win tomorrow. I think Pep will play his same normal game where it's all about possession and trying to break us down with tiki-taka football. And I think we're quite good at blocking that. We play the low block, and I think they'll struggle to break it down. And when their passing isn't accurate, we'll hit them with Martial and Rashford and Dan James and even Lingard. So I'm confident. I'm confident we're going to do it. The way we're going to line up, that's my predicted lineup there. I know that Martial and Lingard have been ill, but I think they will both definitely play. I don't think Luke Shaw will play, because I think the Williams can play. And I think Luke Shaw has been out with an illness. But I think that illness, with the fact that Williams played well at the weekend, I think he'll go for Williams. Wan-Bissaka will come in at right back. And I think it's right to go with Williams, by the way. I am a big fan of Luke Shaw, but I think, look, let's go with Williams. Let's everyone have that chance. Let him have that chance. Let's see what he does. I expect Maguire to play. I mean, Maguire is carrying an injury. If Maguire doesn't play, then we're going to have to play Phil Jones. So I think Maguire will definitely play as well. De Gea comes in goal for me. I'm not one of these, let's get Romero in the team. And then Obviously, it'll be Matic and Fred in the midfield. Rashford, Lingard, Martial and James. He might play Pereira, but I think he'll go for Lingard because I think Lingard is almost irrelevant in relation to what he can do for United these days. I mean, the stats bear that out. It's not, it's not being abusive. It's not being unfair. He doesn't do much in a United shirt. But against Man City, it's probably the perfect game for him because he will get that breaking chance into space. Lingard's best ability is spinning with the ball and running into space at an opposition's penalty box, and I think Man City, especially at Old Trafford, will give us the chance to do that. So I think that's the way he will line up, and I think it will win. Abdullah says that Matic is too slow to play against City because Man City press very well. I think you're absolutely spot on, Abdullah, but I don't think Matic will do anything other than patrol the back four. I think that's what him and Fred will do. We will basically have our back four with our two CDMs behind the ball, and Matic can do that. They're going to have to try and find their way through. If we went toe to toe with Man City, then Matic becomes redundant. He basically does become a post box that they'll bypass. But if he's just in front of our back four, patrolling that area, he hasn't got to go he hasn't really got to go past the halfway line. So I think that's what we'll do with Matic tomorrow. And ultimately, it's needs must. We must do that. Marky says, why not Romero? Because De Gea's been crap. Look, I'm a fan of De Gea. I think he's been our best player in a terrible period of our history. I think he was treated badly by the club last year. I think that's blown his confidence a little bit. But I think this season, to me, and it might not be abundantly clear to you, but to me, when you criticise Maguire, when you criticise Lindelof, when you criticise De Gea and Luke Shaw, and even I've seen a bit of criticism of Wan-Bissaka, there's a lot of money and there's a lot of talent in that back five, but there's no cohesion. Nobody's nobody's helping each other out. I mean, David De Gea, that goal we conceded, the second one against Arsenal from the corner. I mean, why is a cross from a corner coming into De Gea fast at chest height? You've got Harry Maguire, you've got Lindelof. Someone's got to go and put their head on that. So sometimes these mistakes that De Gea makes are part of other people's mistakes, and sometimes their mistakes is part of others. I think as a back five, they are not doing very well. And I do rate De Gea. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. So for me, I would not be dropping De Gea at all. Jordan Such says, Mark, if we don't spend money this month because they might be lining up Poch in the summer, why not just get him now so he will have time to know what players he wants and doesn't? And why keep someone out of that depth till the summer? Says Jordan Such. Yeah, but a lot of managers do that. A lot of clubs do that. A lot of clubs will know they're signing a player in the summer, and a lot of clubs will know they're removing their manager in the summer to bring somebody else in. And also, I think with and thanks for the contribution, Jordan. That's very generous. But also, with regards to Pochettino, he may well have said, I'm not taking a job till the summer. And I hope if United are getting a manager in next, which they may not, they may stick with Ollie, but the next manager's got to come in with a big pair of balls. They've got to come in and say, they've got to be begged to take the job, really. We can't have another manager that's in awe of the job, because there's nothing wrong with being in awe of the job of Manchester United. I think in some periods of our history, that would have been a good thing. But the way our club is run, we need a manager that the club are on their knees to get. So that when that manager comes in, these are the terms I'm taking this job. I want this amount of money. I want those players out. I want this sort of control. That's what we need with our next manager. And maybe the Pochettino theory, and I'm not saying it's true, I just think that there are similar... If we don't sign players in January, I will start to believe the Pochettino theory that's floating out there a little bit more. At the moment, it's just a theory, and that is that if United don't sign players in January when they desperately need to more than ever, then is this the same story as what happened with Van Gaal in his last few months, where lots of fans started to feel he needed to go, the performances weren't good enough, they kept him till the end of the season, and even though he won an FA Cup, he was gone, and Mourinho came in because Mourinho was available. Pochettino's available. Are United just not going to buy players for Solskjaer because they're waiting for Poch in the summer? We'll have to wait and see. I still think we will sign players, to be honest. I can't see how, regardless of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's future is, I don't see how you can justify not signing players in this January transfer window, because I was talking to Flex and Rants this morning, and if we don't sign players in the January transfer window, this season's going to end with nothing. We won't win anything. I mean, January's exciting, but we could be out of the FA Cup, the top four race and the Carabao Cup by the start of February, and then it's all eggs in on the Europa League, isn't it? Hey Mark, just wondering when you'll continue the podcasts. I miss listening to them on the way to uni. PS, you guys always make my day. Thank you, says Neil and Idris. Yeah, I need to speak to Flex about the podcast. It's definitely coming back. Abdullah Atani says, I'd like us to sign a foreign player so people stop calling us Brexit FC. It's a very simplistic ask, isn't it, Abdullah? But I do agree with you on that. I do feel the same about that. But how are we feeling about this Manchester City game then? And is there anything you particularly want to talk about on the show? Because to be honest with you, I did Transfer Daily this morning. We've done Ole's Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. That's my predicted lineup for Man City. We've covered some of the topical stuff about United want Madison in January, but they can't get him. Emery Chan is staying at Juventus. I think we'll win tomorrow. I don't think that tactically, I don't think we need to go into this massively. City are going to play the way City play. I mean, to be honest with you, what I did want to say is that Plan A. I'm quite critical that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's only got one plan, and that's Plan A, and everybody else, a lot of people is as well. His Plan A is soak up possession, hit teams on the break, and it's never changed. You know what you're going to get with United, and it worked very well at the Etihad. But on the other hand, I think Pep Guardiola's only got one plan as well. Unfortunately for most of Europe, that Plan A was hard to beat. But Pep Guardiola doesn't have a Plan A. He never had one at Barcelona either. Barcelona did used to lose games sometimes, and sometimes I think Barcelona, Man City. You look at some of the games they've lost, and you think, if they did have a tall striker just to hit route one, sometimes it would mix it up. I think it's always good to have a Plan B, but Pep hasn't got a Plan B. Pep's Plan A is very good, but he hasn't got a Plan B. So he will play the same way as he played against us at the Etihad. He will leave space at the back. Their defence will be vulnerable. And if we defend well, and I think we will do at Old Trafford, because the crowd will be up for it and people will be that focuses the minds. And if we attack well, and I think we will do, because I think people like Rashford and Dan James and Lingard will respond to it being a Manchester derby. Especially, I think Marcus Rashford in Manchester derbies is amazing. He gets it. From that time that he retired that Argentinian bloody Phil Jones, what was his name? Demichelis. He retired him, didn't he, at the Etihad a few years ago. Rashford gets what Manchester derbies are all about, and he will turn up tomorrow. So I'm confident. I think United are going to win. I'm not allowed to normally do that. You won't let me say that, but I think we will. I think the Manchester derbies are a great leveller. Old Trafford is a massive advantage, and we've already seen this season that we do well against the top teams who attack us, and Man City will attack us. So it's the perfect storm for us, and I think we'll do well. Has anyone in the mainstream media actually watched Lingard play? All I've heard is that he used to be good, but has lost his way a bit recently, says Nick P. I think on Lingard, we're in for some very interesting times. I mean, this link-up with Mino Raiola makes no sense to me at all. Why would you link up with somebody the club despise and who doesn't like the club? Because if it's for a new contract, that means Raiola's got to negotiate with the club. If it's to get you a move, then he's going to get you a move. But who's going to buy Jesse Lingard? I'm not even being horrible here. With all due respect, who's going to sign Jesse Lingard? This would be Mino Raiola's most significant deal ever if he can get money for Jesse Lingard at the moment, because he's been awful. He's on good wages at United. Who's going to buy Jesse Lingard? I mean, is he going to get him a move to China? I don't know. But I can't see any European club wanting Jesse Lingard. I just don't see why he'd link up with Mino Raiola. 3 players I would like to see at United: Thomas Partey, Bruno Fernandes, Timo Werner, says Jordan Such. I think that's probably going to be one of the most popular comments of the evening, because you're absolutely spot on with that. Smash a like on the video, everybody, if only for Jordan Such as there. Partey, Bruno Fernandes and Timo Werner. The funniest thing is, it's not easy to do that in January. But if you had the attitude of a Manchester City and you just went, I'm going to get those players because I'm ambitious, you would get them. You could get Werner. Leipzig his manager's already said they wouldn't stand in his way if he wanted to go. You could get Thomas Partey. He's got a release clause, and you could definitely get Bruno Fernandes as well. You could get all 3 of those players, but you've got to have the appetite to do it. And United have the appetite of me after my Christmas dinner when I'm sat there trying to force more turkey in. Arsenal and Wolves showed our weakness. No Pogba or McTominay. You can bully this club. They score early, then sit back, and we're doomed. 0 goals last 2 games, says Chuck in Bangkok. And I think tactically, Chuck, you've hit it. I sound like Cilla Black. Ooh, get off. Tactically, Chuck. Ooh, you've won a blind date. Rest in peace, Cilla. But she used to call people Chuck. But tactically, Chuck, done it again. You're spot on. The difference in this team compared to the Spurs and Man City games. Did McTominay play against Spurs? Did he play against Man City? I can't remember what the midfield 2 was against them. But I do think that Matic didn't play in those games, and that is a big thing. We will miss the option of having a McTominay in there. Pogba, not so much so, because we didn't have him in either of those games. I'm tired today, I tell you. First day back for everybody, isn't it? First day back, but then this afternoon I was doing some work and Serie A was on. I was like, what's going on a Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock? Serie A was on, but it's January the 6th. It's a big day in Italy. I can't remember what it's for. I think it's the end of Epiphany or the start of it, but they do celebrate January the 6th, so there you go. What formation do you think our team is best suited for with the players that we've got now, says Frederick Larson? I think, to me, get in the live comments, everybody. Get in the live comments. What do you think is United's best formation? I don't think we play our best formation. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the job on a formation that he turned his back on as soon as he got the job. If I could sit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer down, I think that would be my number one question up there with why didn't you sign midfielders in the summer? Why did you change your formation, Ollie? Why did you go from 4-3-3 with one holding midfielder where you won nearly every game for 3 months, and then you got the job and you went 4-2-3-1 and you never went back to that? I personally think Matic holding the midfield at the moment with Pereira and Fred box to box would work really well, and get rid of the number 10. You know, because I don't think Pereira works as a number 10 and I don't think he works as a midfielder, but I think as a box to box he might work quite well. I think that's the way I would go, with the same front three, Martial and Rashford and James or Greenwood, but the midfield is where we get it wrong. I think we should have one holding midfielder, and it's Matic, and he doesn't move, he just stays in front of the back four. Don't you think about going forward or anything like that, and then Fred and Pereira box to box. But for the last 6 months, we've just done this two holding midfield thing, and it wasn't what got him the job. It's just weird. Few people saying 4-3-3. Somebody said Blatt Machine says 4-4-2. 4-3-1-2 says Mohamed Nasser. 4-3-3, 4-3-3, 4-3-3. A lot of people going with he got hyped and he changed it, says Mark Messon. We've got to keep it real, says Yahi. This club is not ambitious enough to reach the top. Yeah, but that doesn't mean as fans you have to lower your expectations, do you? I refuse to do it, even if it's just stubbornness. I refuse to lower my expectations, to be honest with you. Pep will start with plan B, then beat you with plan A. You don't beat City twice in a row, says Kejel and Egland. Is that a new saying? You don't beat City twice in a row? Because that's got to be... You know, it's not like, you know... United always bounce back, which is pretty much through our history. But you don't beat City twice in a row. I just find that just makes me want to laugh. You don't beat City in a row. It's like coming up with a new saying, isn't it? You know, you get all these sayings like a rabbit in a headlights, or don't piss on an electric fence. But then it's like making up your own rubbish saying, like, don't walk across the road in flippers because you might fall over and hurt yourself. It's a bit like, City don't lose twice. I mean, like, you already invented about 5 minutes ago. You can't have your own sayings. Like City don't lose twice. You know, look at your vast majority of your history. You probably lose 5 times in a row quite regularly. So I'm not having that. Longstaff or Matic. So there's not much we can get up on City, but they're not having their own sayings yet. Will be Longstaff or Matic. I think that's a good question in a way. Because I think that I don't want Longstaff. It's as simple as that. So I'd rather keep Matic till the summer and buy somebody like Ndidi. If City gets an early goal, it's going to be a long night for us, Mark, says Venkat Ashwa. I actually disagree with that as well. Thanks for reminding me about that comment. I think if Man City get an early goal, they won't change the way they're playing. They will just keep going and going. I think Pep is the sort of manager that just wants to right the wrongs that annoy him. And I think that he will be hurt that Man City lost at the Etihad to United. And they've not really recovered from that. And they've had a bad season, but that was probably their lowest point. So I think tomorrow, if he gets an early goal, he won't sit back and go, well, let's take a 1-0 lead to the Etihad. You know, they're not bloody Arsenal from the 90s. This is Pep Guardiola's Man City. If they get an early goal, they'll be like, let's go again. They're going to have to come out a bit. So I think if City score first, they could win 2 or 3-0. But I don't think they will. I think we'll score first. And I think if we score first, it just plays into our hands even more, because City will go more gung-ho, leaving more gaps at the back. But the first goal scorer will make the game interesting. Sky are now reporting that Samari is available for January, says Mr. Abdi. Well, he is. You know, Babukari Samori from Lille is a midfielder. He's 20 years of age. He's a centre defensive midfielder. A lot of people are interested in him. He's definitely available. And to be honest with you, he'd be the sort of signing that you could make in January and it wouldn't matter whether Ollie's going to be here next year or not, because most managers would want him. So those sort of signings, why wouldn't the club do that? Whether they want to get a new manager in the summer or not, that's the sort of signing that you do because it's a player that's going to be good. A CDM, creative midfielder, and someone decent who can play anywhere across the front three would make us the third best team in England, says HLC. CDM, creative midfielder, and someone decent who can play anywhere across the front three would make us the third best team in England. I think it would give us something to build on, HLC. I really do. Sujay T says 3-4-3, Bissaka, Maguire and Twansibi. Victor is a centre-back. Brandon Williams and James as wing-backs. Fred, Matic. You've lost me there, Sujay. Matic midfield. Martial at 10 and Rashford and Greenwood up front. No, I don't like that. Thanks for the contribution, but I don't like it. And Guyan Harafan Goodmanson says, hey Mark, what do you think about Eduardo Carnavega, 17-year-old player at Rennes? I would like to see him and Bruno Fernandes this January. I think you've got absolutely no chance of United going and signing a player like that who has not got a British passport, to be honest. But I do like Samore, and Illa United's on about him. I do like Samore, or Samore, however you spell it. I've not seen loads of him. I don't profess to, but the sort of player he is, I like him a lot. But we've got a young player that we got from France called Alua Traore from PSG. I think we got him at 16. He's about 18 now. I've got high hopes for him as well. I think he's got that sort of modern midfield traits, where it's lots of energy, powerful, good on the ball. It's very hard to see young players coming through just because they're good as young players, but I would like to see some of these young players coming through. We've got some good ones. It's just whether they can make that step up. Lewis Woodbridge says Man United need to just bend over and take this year in the backside and not spend any money in January. It'll be a waste with your current manager. Wait till the summer, sack Ollie and rebuild. Well, that's Lewis Woodbridge being pretty blunt there. Thoughts on the Winks links? I personally rate him, says GT5. I like Harry Winks. I think it's a weird link from Harry Winks to Manchester United. I don't see it happening. I don't see why Spurs would want to move him on, really. And if they did, they'd want silly money. So it's very hard to do deals with Spurs as well. So I don't see that happening at all. I really, really don't. If I'm absolutely honest with you, but I do like Harry Winks. I just think again it's the British passport and everything like that, so we get linked to somebody. So yeah, I don't see that happening at all. But I can only say Manchester United need to sign players in January. I think we all know that, don't we? We desperately need to sign players in January. Please do smash a like on the video. We're nearly at 1,000 likes. Just whack that like button while you're there. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new. There is an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction, which I did this morning. Transfer daily, every Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. We did one this morning about the Wolves lads, Jimenez and Neves, and also a Roma lad who I've completely forgotten his name. That's bad. That's embarrassing. I can't remember his bloody name now. Plays for Roma, 20-year-old. Anyway, give it a watch. Transfer Daily's back tomorrow at 7 a.m. as well. Watch along tomorrow. Fan cams as usual. And if anything happens, sometimes at 10:30 you get some good transfer news. So I might go live around that time again, but I'm sure I will do it at some point over the transfer window. So make sure you subscribed and you got the bell clicked, which is at the bottom. Click your bell. Some people don't know this. If you subscribe to the channel, there's a bell. If you click that bell and tick get all notifications, because some people say, why don't I get notifications when you go live? But thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to be on That's Football at 8 o'clock if you want to join me there, because I'm doing Arsenal versus Leeds as a watch along. So if you want to join me on that, it's Mark Goldbridge, That's Football on YouTube. The link is open. The match chat is already starting, so I'll be live at 8 o'clock on there if you want to join me for that one, and we'll also know who United have got in the FA Cup if they beat Wolves by then. So join me on there at 8 o'clock if you're going to be watching that game and you want a bit of a match chat. I'll speak to you all later. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon. Oh, HLC says the way City play suits as well. I'm as confident for this game as I am for Norwich at the weekend. I'm really confident, very confident for the win. Get your thoughts in below.